Hello, everyone. I'm Julio DeSanctis. I am your formerly feverish and shaky and freezing cold with a fever host. But now, after what a night to remember, I am snuggly and all better. And thank you to my cousins, my wonderful cousins that sent this very, very comfortable throw. I think it's just called a throw, right? I don't know. It's a blanket, but I think really they just call it a throw. Obviously, I'm not the kind of person that you'd want decorating your house if I don't know what this is, but I believe it's called a throw. Anyway, here's what happened on Sunday night. Sunday late afternoon, I started getting feeling real crampy, real just worn out, getting a lot of bone pain that they talk about. And then Sunday evening, I could barely keep my eyes open for the Sunday night game. Totally wiped out. Sure enough, I had a fever. It was a low grade fever at first, but it was a fever. And I go to bed, I don't know what time it was, 8 o'clock at night. I go to bed, maybe 9 o'clock at night. Wiped out. I wake up a couple hours later, just shivering uncontrollably. Now, I have a full-on fever at that point. It was like barely, almost 102, 101 point something, almost 102. And they were like, oh boy, you got a fever. So then they go into the mode of, now, if you thought you were tired before, well, guess what? Now you're not allowed to go to sleep at all because they're going to be checking on you like every hour. So thankfully, they didn't put like ice packs on me. That would have been rough. I had that happen 10 years ago when I had MRSA. I got covered in ice packs when I had a fever of 103.5 that wouldn't break. I was covered in ice packs. Awful. Brutal moment. Anyway, 102 fever, shivering. They give me various medicines. They're checking on me every hour. They come in with a mobile x-ray thing to x-ray my chest to make sure that I don't have like a chest infection, don't have pneumonia or whatever. They do blood. They draw blood. They do a swab in my mouth. All this shit. Can't sleep now because they're worried this guy's got a fever. He's on the transplant ward. Something might really be wrong with him. His immune system's compromised. So, turns out my numbers have finally dropped to zero. 100% zero. These magical numbers that need to go to zero. So, the stem cells that they put back into my body can find their way to my bone marrow. Obviously, I'm not the person that's supposed to be explaining this because I can barely understand what they're doing to me. But that's what it was. I had the transplant, like I could literally tell that the transplant was taking place. That's why I felt so sick. But I got through it. It wasn't a very comfortable night, but I got through it. So Monday morning, I'm exhausted, but my fever is only like barely 100. I think it was even less than 100. So technically not even a fever, but they're just aware of it. And I'm just wiped out from the night, right? My all these blood numbers are as low as a human can reasonably go and expect to still be above ground. Sick as a dog because of it. Sorry, I have some cough drops in because I have a terrible taste in my mouth right now. And just wiped out from the whole experience. That was the proverbial wall that I had finally hit. So I spent all of Monday sleeping. I probably was not awake for more than, 6 hours out of a 24-hour period from Monday morning to Tuesday morning to today. right? I watched a little bit of the Monday Night Football game, and I got to spend some time with the Reiki healers that come around, the ones I'd mentioned before. So they came into my room, and I told them I really did not feel very well, and that I was mostly sleeping. Actually, they woke me up when they came in. They knocked on the door, and they opened the door. I did not wake up. It took them talking to me to wake them up. They said, "Oh, hello," and I said, "Oh yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I'm sleeping. What's going on?" And then they explained what they were there for. And I said, "Well," I said, "I'm sleeping." I said, "But go ahead. I'll just lay here. You do your thing." So, because we're in a hospital, and because they take particularly care to not infect the autoimmune compromised patients, everybody wears rubber gloves. And everybody wears rubber gloves and masks. So they start by dosing a, paper towel with some peppermint oil and putting it under my nose for some aromatherapy, as I expected the day before that there would be aromatherapy. There was. I have no idea what healing power that peppermint oil had. Probably zero. And then they proceed to put their hands on me in their Reiki manner. My head, my arms, and my feet. The only things that are uncovered by the blanket, right? My arms are out, skin is uncovered, my head is uncovered, and my feet are uncovered by the blanket. And they're wearing rubber gloves. So, rubber gloves, just like holding my hand, that just gets clammy. That just feels like shit. And I don't feel very good, and I certainly don't have the energy to tell them, fly the fuck out of here, Reiki morons. You're snake oil salesman. So they just put their hands, double hands on my forearm. And they leave them there for what feels an uncomfortably long time. And I don't have the, I can't sleep. My wife knows this. And a lot of you ladies out there know this. I can't sleep when I'm being touched. I cannot do it. There is no greater fiction in television or film than when they film people cuddling together and then falling asleep. That is the biggest fucking piece of science fiction. That's Millennium Falcon, Deep Space Nine, whatever else it is you nerds watch, level science fiction. That's fucking Jar Jar Binks level science fiction. Can't be done. People touching each other, snuggling together, and then somehow comfortably falling asleep. Sorry, can't be done. Certainly can't be done with rubber gloves on. So they got the rubber gloves on my hands. They got the rubber gloves on my feet. And they just move around, creating one sort of, I don't know, just moist, sweaty section after another on my head. They got both hands on my head. And eventually they excuse themselves and they leave. What? And they're gone. And then they excuse themselves. And I say, "Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for that wonderful session. That wonderful, clammy session." And they go their separate ways. And I lay there and think to myself, what a scam all this bullshit pseudoscience is. How does a hospital get away with it? One second. And then anyway, and that was my day. Then I went back to sleep. And I woke up and saw the game. And I didn't give you the Chargers, but I did like the Chargers. And I thought about it. I think I'm going to give myself a mulligan on all these terrible football picks because I've been so under the weather. So maybe we'll pick up with a clean slate starting next week. All right. Fuck cancer. Love you all. Keep fighting the good fight. Go get vaccinated. That's it for me. See you soon.